today is trying to start a new life with her boyfriend and their 1-year-old baby away from the mistakes of her past and the judgment of the world. Now, would you please join me in a very warm welcome, Reagan, to the show, to Your World Today. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here today. We call it Your World because I find it instructional, I find it informative, and I find that it strikes a chord with people when we allow our guests to take us into your world. Let's start when the sexual abuse started at age 6 and walk us through that.
So my mom, she was a very good mom at the very beginning, but once I was like 6 years old, she started messing around with this guy, and she was like getting really bad on drugs. So my grandparents had took her to court, and from what I was told whenever I was younger, she didn't want to take a drug test, so she just waived her rights to me. And whenever my mom, she didn't want me, that's what I feel like. It's just like, why? So I would always try to be with my mom no matter what. So I was always taking her side whenever people would talk about her and say she was doing all this stuff. And she started dating that guy, Jerry, and we were getting to see her. I noticed things weren't right. And he would be like riding in the car with me, and like he would have his hand like in the middle of my thigh. And then it like progressed from there. Like he would put like porn on in the TV before school when my mom wasn't there, like if maybe she had to go to work or something early, and like.
So he would play porn when you were about what, 5?
6 or 7. I was like probably in 1st grade. He never like went any further than just touching me and like making me watch stuff with him.
It's still called abuse. You were far too young to have been put into situations like that, having your whole mental and spirit open to porn. All of that is abuse. And I think it's important for our audience to recognize what abuse is, whether it's verbal, emotional, sexual. There had to be a lot of emotional pressure. I want to even go so far as to say trauma on you as a six-year-old.
Definitely took away a lot of my childhood because I was always the one who was trying to make sure my sisters like were okay. She stayed with him for a very, very long time. Like she went back and forth with him. No matter what happened, he abused her, she abused him. It was never good. It was always very toxic between them two.
So how long did the abuse last with you, from 6 years old to about what, when you were a preteen or what?
Yeah, so it stopped with that whenever my mom we got taken away from my mom. It was pretty, like nothing for a while. And my half-sister's dad had moved us to another city. We left living with my grandparents half the time and were with him for the whole time. All of a sudden, in 8th grade, I just started feeling really weird. I just remember like hearing clicks, like, like whenever you take a picture on your phone, it makes that shutter noise. Then I noticed that he was taking pictures of me. Every time I would bend over, or if I was wearing short shorts and I was doing the dishes or I was cleaning, I told my stepmom, like, my dad's taking pictures of me from behind and I'm scared of him, and he's been like coming in my room at night. One time at the old house before we had moved, he had came in from being out at night, and I woke up and he was like on top of me. And I was like, Dad, and he was like, oh, I thought you were Gina, like saying her name. And I told her all these things. As soon as he got home, she told him, like, this is what Reagan's saying,
Reagan, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I mean, my heart just, to hear this story, it's so disturbing to know you had to go through it. I thank God for his grace that you made it out. But the story goes a little further now as a result of this.
Well, that went even past that. I didn't get out of that house until I was 17.
Wow.
And it had went further. Like when she had told him he took me on a drive in the truck and was like nailing me down, like telling me like cussing at me, saying all these things like, why would you say all this, you know, like hitting me in my forehead with his fingers and like, you know, pushing on me and stuff. But I like let it go, but then it went on to, I always wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I wanted a bodybuilding.com account, and he's like, okay, well, we can make one for you, but I'll run it because there's creeps on there. I was like, okay, so he had me put on a swimsuit and he took pictures of me. And then that kept going on and on and on. Then he would order outfits off of the internet. He's like, oh, I bought this for Gina, but I need you to try it on for me to see if it fits her. And so I would try it on, but it was lingerie.
Is Gina your mom?
My stepmom.
Stepmom, okay.
Yeah. And then he would get me to drink, and he would like tell me, oh, don't be a pansy, oh, drink this, like, you know, like pretty much pressuring me into drinking alcohol to the point where I would black out. And I really don't remember like a lot of things that happened, but it started going on to him like having me dance for him and having me give him lap dances and like telling me, oh,
your stepfather?
Yeah, telling me, oh, move your hand over, let me see your boobs. And I would like try to make up something and say like, no, I don't want to, like they're ugly, like blah, blah, like say something.
Reagan, let me ask you something. I want to make sure that I'm following you and our audience following you. You went from your biological mother back to your father, who you later on found out was not your biological father?
Yeah.
So you're staying with your
half-sister's dad.
Yeah, and his wife.
Yeah.